Welcome to the Overflow Worship podcast, where we serve and support leaders so you can serve and support your local church.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Overflow Worship podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Olson. So we've been on a fun little journey the last little bit, and we're continuing this actually every Monday from now until the conference, which is October 8th and 9th. So you're going to get extra podcasts from us this month, guys. Woohoo! So I am really excited because today I'm going to share a conversation with you that I had with Shane and E.B. Cole. And if you're an Overflow Worship Conference alumni, you know and love them because they've been with us the past few years, and they're going to come back this year. And it's going to be a little bit different. The sessions are different, and just their role is a bit different. And so we hopped on Instagram Live and we talked about it, and they're giving little sneak peeks and teasers of the sessions they're going to be teaching. And it's such a great conversation. So here we go. Oh, thanks, you guys. Well, everybody, welcome to this really fun dual live and recording of the Overflow Worship podcast. So for those of you who are listening to this afterwards, you on the podcast, you can head over to the Overflow Worship official Instagram and see the video if you want to. But I'm live with Shane and E.B. Cole, joining me all the way from You are. Okay. I was like, I never know, right? Because you guys travel so much.
Yep, we're in Roswell, Georgia today, in our house.
I forget sometimes, too.
Do you?
Yeah. Like,
where am I? What time zone?
Yeah.
Yes.
It took us a couple months of waking up here to realize, oh, yeah, this is where we moved. Okay, cool. Yeah, we live here now.
Yes. Oh, well, we just moved too, so I can sort of empathize. My kids are like, what's our address? What town is this? And so there's a little bit of that happening in the Olson household too. Mm-hmm. Oh, so how are you guys? How's your summer been? Happy fall.
Thank you. Yeah, you go first.
It's been good. I think I have such a newfound respect for people that move a lot, like military families or whatever, just because I feel like we moved back to Atlanta almost a year ago, and I feel like I'm just now getting in the rhythm, being back,
Yeah.
But that has made the summer nice. It's been hot, but I think our summer in Florida got us ready for that last summer. But yeah, Andrea, we're good. We're excited for the fall weather and to hang out with y'all, and it's been really good.
Yeah, it's been great.
Your turn, Shane Train.
We were talking before it was officially recording, and we were telling Andrea that September 1st happened, and it was 15 degrees cooler that day, and it stayed pretty cool. So that's been nice for me because I run a little hot. So my AC's been at 80% instead of 110%. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
You were laughing at our bill the other night, weren't you?
Yeah, we have a pretty small apartment. We had a very steep electricity bill. So that put into perspective how hot it was outside and how cold we were trying to keep it in here.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Well, if it makes you feel any better, we do too. Our electric bill is high because we keep it pretty cool. My husband also runs very warm.
Mm-hmm. What's y'all's temp, Andrea?
Outside?
Or what's y'all's temp inside? What do you like inside?
I'm trying to look at the thermostat. I think it's set at like 72, 71, something like that. Yeah. How about you guys?
We're 68ers.
Oh, okay.
Andrea's like,
I don't know if we're not net zero yet. We got a little work to do before we're net zero emissions or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Not eco-friendly maybe, but you're not sweating, so.
We love coming up there, Andrea, though, because it's so cold. Do you think it'll be, remember that time it was icy?
Yes.
Do you think it'll be cold by October?
I think it should be I'm thinking it'll probably be warmer than usual because we've had such an unusually warm summer. Usually the summer is maybe in the 70s and 80s, and we have about a week or two where it's 90s, but we've been at 90 since the end of May, pretty much, just consistently across the board with a few little reprieve days here and there. So I kind of think it might be warmer than usual. But if anything, you'll get to see the fall colors and maybe get some crisp, cool fall air in the 50s, which is always welcome too.
We're excited to be back. It's going to be awesome. We were trying to think, has it been 3 years or 4 years? Will this be the fourth?
I think it's three, right?
This is the third.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're excited. We love traditions, so.
Yeah, so do we. So everybody who's just joining, if you're joining from Evie's page, my name is Andrea Olson, and I'm with Overflow Worship. And for all of you joining on the Overflow Worship page, I'm talking to Evie and Shane Cole, joining me from Atlanta area. George, I did it again.
Nashville, Florida.
Yeah, well, I was going to say the name of the town that you said earlier, but I forgot what it was. Did you say Roswell?
Mm-hmm.
It is Roswell with my soul.
Ah, got it.
Or I'm the Wizard of Roz.
Shane likes that one.
I don't even know if I can. The Wizard of Roz. Wizard of Roz. That's a good tongue twister for my vocal students.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. So we're going to talk about the Overflow Worship Conference. It's coming up in 5 weeks, which is crazy. October 8th and 9th in Wilmer, Minnesota, and Shane and Evie are both going to be there teaching sessions, singing, playing. It's going to be amazing. So we're going to chat about it a little bit. So let's kick it off with just a little bit about what the weekend has been like for you guys in the past. Like maybe a highlight, maybe one highlight from each of you, because you've been now, this is your third time. So one highlight.
You first.
You go.
My highlight would be, I definitely, from my perspective, once we get there, it's kind of like all hands on deck to make sure the night of worship, is going to go great. The first big time we all worship together and stuff, which is awesome. But I always love it when after some breakout sessions to see attendees' wheels start to turn, and maybe they've met a couple of new friends or had some chats with some of the people that are leading the breakout sessions or whatever. I just love to see them kind of light up and see the ideas start flowing about what they could take home from the conference to their church and just make things better, make things a little easier on them. And we've stayed in touch with a few people too that we've met from out there, and that's always a highlight for me. I love meeting people with common interests and meeting people that are dealing with kind of some of the same challenges and stuff. So yeah, just building a little network like that I think is a really cool added benefit to the weekend. So yeah, just the interpersonal stuff and interacting with people is my big highlight from each year we've done it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's definitely a high for me. It's funny. I was going through my guitar case. I don't know when this was, maybe a couple months ago, or maybe it was my Bible, but I found a note, and I think it was from somebody up at at the Overflows, like, pray for, yes, it was, because they put a name of a church that I remember. I'm like, can you pray for our young leaders coming up, that they just be encouraged and inspired? And yeah, I love just the relational stuff that happens while we're there. I'm always so inspired, Andrea, just by this dream that God has given you for just, where you're at, where you guys live up in the Midwest, like, and how you have chased after it and to watch it really bless people. I mean, a lot of people that come I love seeing new people, but a lot of churches that come, they've come a couple years, like they've come many years in a row, right?
Yeah, we have probably, I'd say it's, 50-50 or 60-40 of, returning to new each year.
Yeah. I just love seeing people that I've seen the past couple years, and I love watching how you just keep dreaming to make it something different and fresh every year. This year's sessions are different than the past 2 years that me and Shane are going to be a part of, and so I'm always inspired just watching your dreams and prayers like begin to burn, and just watching it encourage people and spread like wildfire, really, just to encourage and fan the flame of their hearts, it's just overall such a remarkable thing to be a part of. So God-breathed. And it inspires us every time.
Wow.
A highlight for me in the past was when we broke out in spontaneous song in my room that time.
Yes.
That was awesome.
Yes.
You just never know what's going to happen. It's just so fun.
I know.
Life with the Lord.
That's right. That's exactly right. Life with the Lord. Never know. But He's always got us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that, you guys. That's just so cool and so encouraging. And it's always cool to hear from our presenters and our artists' perspective, because I'm just always amazed every year how it's like, yes, it's about the attendees, yes, it's about the churches, but there's also things that the Lord is doing behind the scenes and in the people, in the hearts and lives of the people who are working at the event, who are presenting and sharing. And I just always love hearing perspective from you guys too. It's just so cool. So as far as the sessions go, I mean, we're not going to give it all away because we want people to come and actually take the session in. Mm-hmm. But you're exactly right, EB, that there's different stuff happening this year in regards to how we're structuring the sessions. You know, our theme is all about pause and taking a breath and giving people an opportunity to just come and be and have a weekend to be revived and to be refilled. And so the pace of the weekend is even a little bit slower. Just the breaks are long enough. Some of the sessions are a little bit longer, so there's not as much getting up and running around. Just everything down to those tiny little details. We wanted to make it possible for people to actually rest. And one of the big needs that I've seen in the churches that I work with over the last year is this whole idea of like long-term sustainability. Like, how do we engage in ministry for the long term, and what does that look like? So everything from the spiritual standpoint, you know, people like Clay Scroggins, I can't say his name, Clay Scroggins, got tongue-tied, you know, will be speaking on, you know, how to stay sane in seasons of change. And there's, you know, just everything from the spiritual aspect down to the logistics. And it's all about wanting to equip churches for the long haul, for longevity. So one of the sessions you guys are teaching is about translating modern songs into your context. And that is something that is a huge pain point from the churches that I work with. And I know you guys too, just like, how do we take this incredible Hillsong, you know, new release or Elevation or whatever, all these awesome songs that are getting released, how do we translate it to our 3-person band or, you know, fill in the blank. So for you guys, maybe share like one thing that would be an overarching theme that you'll share in the class, or something that you're excited to get to share about in that class.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. This is just like one thing I plan on sharing. So if somebody's there that's not watching the Instagram live, they'll hear this for the first time, but you'll have a little sneak peek. But like a classic song, this just stood out to me one day. I love Tom Petty, right? Huge fan. One of my big regrets in life is I never saw Tom Petty live before he passed. And so I'm a huge fan, and one of the songs I love is Learning to Fly. And the recording of it is unbelievable. Like, it's just in so many ways, like it's a production masterpiece. You know, people reference that song and recording, and they think, man, how did they get the drums to do this? And what are the guitars doing? And these instruments push and these don't. And I was like, how does this song feel live? So I go to youtube.com and I start scouring, and I found out he never played that song live with a band. He always did it with one single acoustic guitar and just him singing, no harmonies or anything. And it just got me thinking. I'm like, that's Tom Petty, you know, one of the most legendary artists ever to have lived, and, you know, sold countless records and sold out arena after arena for decades. And he produces this epic song, and then even with his band, he decides, I think this one feels so good, just acoustic and vocal. So, and so much of my background is like rock and roll clubs and country tours, and my old band was playing, gross little rock clubs around the Southeast and stuff. So I think a lot. I try to think parallel about those experiences and then all the times I've led worship and stuff. And I'm like, well, if Tom Petty can do it, then why is the church so often scared to try to do a song different than the way it was recorded? So I just use that as an example. The song is still so powerful the way that Tom Petty would do it live. So I would always argue, like, there's not a good acoustic version of, let's say, Living Hope. But what if we just peeled back some layers, and if we need to change the piano part a little bit from the recording and make it, let's say, a little turbocharged, since piano is going to be our main instrument on our church's version of this song, or the way we're going to do it. I love to equip people to think along those lines. And and it's exciting to me to see a musician who's been honing their craft for so long kind of flex a little and be like, hey, it would be cool if on my right hand I did this thing to fill up some space, since we don't have 3 electric guitars behind us.
Right.
Yeah, so I love to draw some parallels about outside of the church music, and what would they do? Yeah. Do we have anything to learn from that? So that's I like to go in those kind of directions when it makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Cool.
It so makes sense.
Oh yeah.
I think flexibility is so important. I'm very passionate about us being 110% who God made us to be, each uniquely, intricately. And we're not supposed to all be like each other and do things the same. And I think if the great creator, like the one who created creativity, is alive in us, then, it's not all going to be the same, and that's going to be a really good thing. And I think just changing our perspective on it, instead of like, dang it, we don't have a drummer this week, what are we going to do? Instead, like, shifting through eyes of faith and being like, okay, well, we do have this really awesome piece, and just shifting that to find the lane for your team, and not being afraid of that and seeing it as a lack, but seeing it as an opportunity to lean into what you do have, And I think that just breeds too. For me, being around, Shane helps me in places we're in so much with this, like, okay, get out of your box and let's just work with what we have and making it really excellent. And me having been in that a lot, I can tell I'm definitely more confident and more sure of my lane and what God created me to do, instead of trying to be like the next person, Like, thank God I'm not like Andrea, and Andrea's like me, like the Lord's too creative for that. And so just leaning into it instead of, looking at it as like a huge disadvantage. Like, it's okay to strip things back. We talked about that last year at Overflow. Me and Shane love, like, just strip it back, simplify, So I love watching people like just be like, wow, I can. I was talking to a lady this morning. I was trying to get her to be creative for a second, and she's like, I can't do that. And then she did. And you can, like, we can. It's just, we got to shift our mind and our heart and our perspective and be like, I carry the creator inside of me. I can really do much more than I think I can, Yeah,
totally. I love that. So good. Thank you for sharing that. That's so good. So you guys have that session. We have another session we're going to be teaching, you and Shane and me and another guy named McKendry. And we're going to be talking all about, kind of how to, if you're wanting to grow as a band and take your band to the next level, what does that mean? What does that look like? And so we're going to talk all about that. It's a nearly 2-hour session. And so that's one of the things we wanted to leave space for, was a longer session this year, and giving people the opportunity to really sit and be in one place for a while. And just soak on that. So, we're not going to give you any details about that one, but it's going to be really good. And Shane's coffee, I can smell it over the airwaves.
That is very interesting sound on a mic.
I'm drinking coffee well into the afternoon, if that says anything about us.
Yeah, that's funny. That's true.
And we take it very seriously. If you are looking for an electric pour over, the Techniform Mocha Master is excellent.
And we are actually we have not received any compensation from Techniform.
They should. We have that same coffee maker. I can attest to that. It's
Do you
great.
really?
So good.
Oh, that's so good. Great minds think alike. So
that's
good.
Right. Maybe I should pack it up and bring it along to Overflow and stick it in the...
You will appreciate this. I have gone back and forth for years about whether or not I want to get a custom Pelican made.
To travel with it, Andrea. To travel with it.
Oh, you don't even... But here's the thing. I would never shake my head at you because we have a super automatic espresso machine in the RV.
Oh, that's epic.
There would be no judgment from me.
That's epic.
Ever.
Yep.
And for those of you who are, contemplating coming to the conference, we're going to have good coffee.
Yes.
There's a coffee cart there to make custom coffees for everybody.
I take it back. That's my highlight.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you for sure. So to wrap it up here today, friends, would you be willing to share one reason, maybe one from each of you, or maybe it's a collaborative reason, why a worship team should come to the Overflow Worship Conference? Why should they make the time to come?
That's a question for us?
Yeah, for you guys.
You first or me?
No, you.
Okay, so you'll learn this about me and Evie. We have a very, very long track record of teaching, and it's very much a purpose-driven thing for me. It's not as much about needing the money or whatever. I mean, we could always use the extra money from teaching, but I'm just really passionate about it. Because I was one of those guys that when I was coming up, I was obsessed with music, but I promise you, I was not predisposed to be good at music. Every aspect of music for me was totally learned. I couldn't hear pitch until I was in my late teens. I couldn't tell you if one note was higher or lower than another. It was all very mechanical and numbers based for me in the beginning, and then I remember the day my ear could distinguish low pitch, high pitch, or scale tones, or what an octave sounded like, or whatever. So I took lessons really seriously when I was a kid, and I loved to see all the progress I would make through that. And I had friends that it just seemed like they would pick up a guitar and they were just naturally gifted. And I believe that there are people like that, but there are so many people too that have a lot to offer musically that, like me, just they have to learn, So we've taught for years and years and years, and I just kind of have that mentality that, even though I haven't had a non-musical job in 15 years, I just believe it's always really good to continue to try to grow. So for me right now, I'm learning pedal steel guitar, and I'm trying to improve my Ableton skills, and I'm trying to improve my production skills, and I'm always asking Evie to help me sing better and hear harmonies and stuff like that. I just think it's healthy, especially when you think about it from a spiritual perspective. I think it's awesome to try to always bring God and the church our absolute best, and we have, and a lot of us have a lot of great experiences that we can bring to the table, but I don't want to stop learning until the Lord calls me home. So I would just encourage anybody that's on the fence about coming. You'll probably meet some people with you'll definitely meet some people with common interests. You'll meet a lot of friendly people that love Jesus, and you'll meet a lot of people that are they're down in the trenches just like you are, trying to make the music at their church awesome. And you'll definitely find many things, I think, that apply to your situation that will help you and your team grow. So that would be my big sales pitch on why you should be there, because I just believe that we should always be bringing our best to our church and make things awesome. And I think that, this is a big shout out to you, Andrea. I've tried to encourage you a lot because I think you're really great at what you do. You're a great musician, but you're so good at the conference thing. That's something I don't think a lot of musicians could do, and you do it so well. So I think you consistently give them an awesome weekend. So that's why I'm so excited to keep coming back. And I'm excited for anybody who comes for the first time or a repeat attendee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I recently was singing with a gal, and she was singing really quiet. And then I was like, I'll do it with you. And as soon as I started singing with her, her voice got so much louder. And I just think we need each other, you know. We, I think just, it's really, I feel like it's a huge reason I'm alive, just to come alongside people and be like, you can do it, you know. And I am who I am because people did that for me and said, you can do it, E.B.
Yeah, same for me.
And so I think it's just important, especially in such a isolating time right now where I think the enemy is trying to, it's just like, isn't that like a thing? This is so country. This is telling where I'm from. Something with like wolves where they get something by themselves or something. They get like their prey like away from the pack or something.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah, no, I think
country stuff.
Yeah, Google country stuff.
But I think it's so true. You get isolated, you get by yourself. It's just not good. And especially in the church, because we already have targets on our back. If you're following Jesus, you know, the enemy's after you. And I just think getting around people, and I'm encouraged and inspired when I'm there. Like it goes both ways. It's not like they're coming and there's some that are, you know, it's like, yeah, we're here to help you. It's like, we all need each other, and we need to be encouraged by one another. We need to be around each other. We need to be just reminded, like, yeah, God has called and anointed and appointed me and assigned me to what I'm doing right now, and I can do it. And just encourage one another. Bring good news to people that feel captive. It's what we were made to do. And so I get really excited about coming to a different part of the States, meeting people. With common interest, but in different places, and just encouraging one another and worshiping together and being reminded that we can rest and the Lord's fighting for our church, for our people, and for our own heart, you know. So.
And wasn't it David that when he would play the lyre, evil spirits would leave
Saul.
And then whenever I come across that, I'm like, man, that's crazy to think. I think sometimes we get in our own heads and we're just trying to get the chords right. But when you think about music and its kind of greater purpose in what we're doing, it's like, wow, there's actually something, you know, supernatural about what we can do with our instruments. Like, it really touches people. So right. So we get to come together and do that thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Amen.
It's pretty awesome.
So good. That's so good. Oh, man. Well, we just love you guys and love having you up here for Overflow. And we're excited for what's to come in October. And thank you for taking the time to chat about it today. For everybody who's watching and listening, get your tickets for the conference at overflowworship.com. We will look forward to seeing you there. And if you have questions, let us know. You can reach out to us, info@overflowworship.com, or send us a direct message if you're on Instagram. And we're praying for you. For every person that's going to be there, we're already praying for you. And we just cannot wait for what God's going to do. There you have it, everybody. I hope you were blessed and encouraged by that conversation. It was such a fun one to have, and I'm always encouraged when I walk away from chatting with EB and Shane. We just love them. And so, guys, here is your invitation. Please do not miss this opportunity to press pause, take a breath, and just be in a different location, different scenery, a change of place plus change of pace equals change of perspective. And I believe that when we come with expectation and we purpose to set aside time to be in the presence of God and to ask questions and to bring ourselves to a place of willingness to learn and grow, He just does amazing things and puts new thoughts and ideas in our hearts that we wouldn't have had if we didn't purpose to take the time. So do whatever you need to do to get to the conference this year, because it's going to be so good. October 8th and 9th in Wilmer, Minnesota, in person. We'll be worshiping together. We'll be learning together, and it will be such a sweet time. Get your tickets at overflowworship.com. And just remember, if you have family members who want to attend the worship night, you can. So the worship night that's on October 8th is the kickoff of the conference, but that night is open to the public. So for $5, anybody, your neighbors, your friends, your spouse, your kids can come and we worship together as a community, and the conference continues with the sessions and workshops for every member of the worship team on October 9th. So get your tickets, overflowworship.com. We will see you there.
You've been listening to the Overflow Worship podcast. If you enjoy our podcast, please take a moment and leave us a 5-star rating and a written review, which helps us reach more people. New episodes are released every other Monday. So until next time, thank you for listening.